Listen up 12s, because the Emerald City is shaking with some massive updates that could redefine our entire roster structure from now until 2026. One of our most reliable young targets was almost out the door until a last-second move kept him in the 206, while a massive veteran contract is officially under the microscope for being totally out of sync with reality. It is a wild time to be a Seahawks fan, and we have the inside scoop on what John Schneider is cooking. Subscribe right now to stay locked into the most authentic Seahawks news on YouTube. Jake Bobo is officially staying right where he belongs in the Pacific Northwest after a high-stakes standoff with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Seahawks front office made the definitive call to cover the offer sheet from the Jags, ensuring that the undrafted standout remains a key piece of our offensive identity. This kid has been absolute money since he stepped onto the field at Lumen, and he did not hold back when expressing his pure joy about staying in the only home he has ever known in the NFL. Honestly, it was a scary moment for a second there because Jacksonville saw the same grit and reliable hands that we see every Sunday. But Schneider knew he couldn't let this talent walk for nothing. This prospect has become a cult hero for a reason, and seeing him back in the blue and green is exactly what the locker room needed to keep that competitive edge alive. He mentioned how much it means to represent Seattle and how his heart was always with the 12s. This is the kind of loyalty you love to see in a league that is usually all about the business, and it is clear the team values his presence. But it gets even crazier when you look at how the money is being distributed elsewhere on this roster, because while we just secured a bargain, there is a massive storm brewing regarding one of the highest paid players in the building. And here is the scary part. The front office is looking at the cap space and realizing that some of these elite salaries are not matching the actual production on the field anymore, which leads us directly into a situation that is starting to make the local media very, very nervous about our veteran leadership. If you are hyped that Jake Bobo is staying in Seattle and want to see him get even more targets this year, smash that like button and drop a Bobo in the comments right now. Cooper Kupp has just been singled out as the player with the most disproportionate contract relative to his current production on the Seahawks roster. Now look, we all know the pedigree and the legendary status, but the cold hard numbers from last season are starting to tell a very different story than the massive game checks being cashed. The analysis coming out of the building points to a veteran receiving elite, top-tier salary while his statistical output has taken a significant nosedive. This is a tough pill to swallow for a fan base that respects the grind. But the NFL is a "what have you done for me lately" league. When you are taking up a huge chunk of the cap, the expectations are through the roof. And right now, that elite production just isn't showing up on the stat sheet like it used to. Inside the building, this has raised serious concerns about how the team can sustain a championship-caliber roster when so much capital is tied up in a player whose trajectory is heading the wrong way. It is a brutal reality of the business, but these are the kind of conversations that lead to massive off-season shakeups. Now think about this: if the production doesn't bounce back immediately, the front office might be forced to make a decision that will shock the entire league just to save the future of our cap space. But while everyone is panicking about the current payroll and the veterans, John Schneider is already 3 steps ahead, finalizing a blueprint that stretches way beyond this season and into the next decade of Seahawks football. Is it time to move on from high-priced veterans, or does the experience still matter? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to sub for more Hawks talk. John Schneider has officially pulled back the curtain on the Seahawks strategic roadmap for the 2026 season, and the details are absolutely massive for the future of the franchise. The front office isn't just looking at next week. They are playing the long game with specific updates to the team structure and aggressive strategies aimed at defending our title aspirations. These announcements include significant shifts in how the team plans to build through the draft and manage the roster's evolution over the next 2 years. Schneider is known for being a wizard with the board, but this level of transparency about the 2026 planning shows that the organization is doubling down on a sustained winning culture. They are looking at the defensive infrastructure and how to modernize the entire operation to stay ahead of the curve in the NFC West. This is how dynasties are built in the NFL, by making the hard moves today to ensure dominance tomorrow. The updates include changes to the internal team structure that suggest a more streamlined approach to player development and scouting. It is a bold move to put these plans out there, but it shows a level of confidence in the current direction that should have every fan in Seattle fired up. The road to 2026 starts right now, and the pieces are being moved on the chessboard as we speak. This is the kind of move casual fans don't understand, but it's exactly what wins championships in this league. The blueprint is set, and the execution is already underway, proving that the Seahawks are never content with just being average. When you look at these three massive developments together, you see a Seattle Seahawks franchise that is currently at a critical crossroads between rewarding loyalty and making cold-blooded business decisions. Keeping Jake Bobo was a masterstroke by John Schneider because it secures a high-value, low-cost asset who has already proven he can produce in this system. However, the contrast between Bobo's bargain contract and the situation with Cooper Kupp is exactly where the tension lies for this front office. Having a veteran on an elite salary whose stats are declining is a recipe for a salary cap disaster if not handled with extreme precision. The Seahawks are trying to balance the competitive fire of today with the financial health of tomorrow. By announcing the 2026 strategic updates, Schneider is sending a clear message that no single player's contract will stand in the way of the team's long-term structure. They are looking to build a roster that is younger, faster, and more financially flexible. This means we might see some incredibly tough departures in the near future to make room for the 2026 vision. The Seahawks are essentially performing surgery on their cap, while trying to remain a Super Bowl contender, a tightrope walk that only the best executives can pull off. Everything we are seeing right now points to a massive transition period where the stars of the past are being measured against the needs of the future dynasty. It is a high-stakes game of football chess. The era of the Seattle Seahawks is clearly shifting, and the moves we are seeing today from John Schneider are the foundation for what this team will look like for years to come. From the gritty determination of Jake Bobo staying home to the hard questions being asked about veteran contracts and the visionary planning for 2026, it is clear that being average is not an option in this building. This is not just another off-season update. This is the blueprint for how we return to the top of the mountain and stay there. Whether you agree with the salary analysis or the long-term roadmap, you have to respect the fact that this front office is never asleep at the wheel. The 12s deserve a championship, and these strategic moves are the only way to get us back to the promised land. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on this journey. We are witnessing the birth of the next great Seahawks era, and you do not want to miss a single second of the action. This is the kind of move that wins championships. Go Hawks!